Hello and welcome back to the Wool Factory's YouTube channel, and this will be the next video in our Crochet Essentials range. So we're going to be looking at basic stitches. So that's double crochet, half treble crochet, treble crochet. You need to know how to do a slip knot and a chain. If you don't know how to do those, refer to the first video. So the link will be in the description, but let's have a look at what we need. Right, for learning the basics, what you're going to need, again, as with all crochet, you need your yarn. I've got a DK here. Your hook to go with your yarn. Because I'm using DK, I've gone for a 4mm. And some yarn scissors. So let's get started. So you need to make your slip knot. And then I'm going to do a chain of about 20, so that we can work a decent number of stitches. As I said, if you don't know how to do this, refer to the first video and it will give you all the tips to get through that and to know how to do this confidently. Here we go. Right, so that is a chain of 20. Right, to work your double crochet, we are going to work, not going to work into this first chain from the hook, we're going to work into the second. So we're going to insert our hook through the stitch, wrap the yarn around, pull it through the stitch, so you've got 2 loops on your hook, then we're going to yarn over and pull through both of them. That is a double crochet, or US terms is a single crochet. So if you're looking at patterns or YouTube videos on how to do things, if it says single crochet, you know it's going to be in US terms. That does matter, and it will become more apparent as you're working, as you're learning more skills, why that is so important. So if it says single crochet anywhere, that means it's a US pattern, because there is no such thing as a single crochet in UK terms. So now we're going to work into the next loop, the next chain. So straight in there, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook, and then into the next one, yarn over, pull through the stitch, pull through the chain, sorry, yarn over, pull through both. And then we just keep going all the way along. So into the next chain, yarn over, pull through the chain, yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook, all the way along. Get a bit more yarn until you reach the end. And keep working. So into the chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, into the chain, yarn over, pull through both of them, into the chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over. This first bit is always fiddly because you're working into a chain. There isn't much to hold on to, so don't get frustrated. It's always difficult. It's difficult for everyone, including experienced crocheters. The first couple of rows are always more fiddly. Once you get more, once you've built up more stitches and more rows, it becomes a lot easier to hold on to. So there we go. We're going to go all the way to the end. Like that. There we go. Last ones. Into there. There we go. Now what you should have the same number that you started with on. Then we go into the last one here. And that will give you 20. Now you're going to turn your work, and then we're going to chain 1. This will count as your first stitch. So we're not going to work into this one, we're going to work into the second. So this one, so 2. And then go straight under the V's. There'll be V's at the top here, as you can see, and we're going to go at the top of the stitch, straight under both bars of that V there, 1 and 2, as you can see them. So again, insert under both of those bars, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And that's how we work all the way along. And as you can see, because it's a little bit thicker, it's actually easier to hold. So I'm going to go into there, under those bars, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. There we go, all the way to the end. And then here we go, the last few. Into the end here. The last one's always going to be fiddly because that's basically your chain. So you literally have to get a stitch in there somewhere. There we go. And that is your first 2 rows. So what I would always suggest is people practice this. So work 20 or 30 rows just so you get into the rhythm and you can see how it looks. There we go. And you can see each of the individual stitches. That is your double crochet. Now we're going to work a half treble crochet, which is basically these stitches go up in height. So this is the small stitch, which you can use for projects. It just takes a lot longer for them to grow. The next one is slightly bigger. So it does have some similarities. For this one, we're going to chain 2 because it's a slightly bigger stitch. We need to make it a little bit higher. This counts as your first stitch, so don't go into the first one. And then what we're going to do, we're going to wrap the yarn around the hook first. We're going to go into the second stitch, under both of these again on the top, yarn over. So now you've got 3 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to yarn over, pull through all 3. So the next one, yarn over, into the next stitch, right there, under both of these, on both sides of the V there, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. And I'm going to show you again. So it's a yarn over, into the stitch at the top there, under the V, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. So let's keep going along, yarn over into the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. And this is your half treble. So here we go. All the way along. It's literally a slightly bigger stitch. So this will grow a little bit faster, but it also makes, because you're yarning over and pulling through all 3, it makes a slightly thicker fabric as well. So if you're making a blanket, this will feel a little bit thicker than a double crochet or even a treble. So it also can add a bit of texture as well to projects. So here we go. Let's keep going all the way along. Okay. And then we've got to work into the last bit, which is the chain from before. So we're going to go straight into there like that. There we go. Now, my advice is always to count your stitches, make sure you're not losing any or gaining any, because you must work into the chains at the beginning and at the end of each row. Otherwise, your work will start curving in. So now I'm going to turn, chain 2 again, and work another row of half treble. And we don't go into the first stitch because the chain counts as the first stitch. So we're going to yarn over, go into the second. Yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. All the way along. Into the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. And then we will have 2 rows of each by the end of it. I didn't quite catch it there. There we go. And then grab a bit more yarn. You will also find a way that you find more comfortable holding the yarn. So the yarn in freehand, I tend to wrap it around my little finger and just hold it like that. But again, there is no right or wrong way. You will find whatever works for you, what's more comfortable for you, because everybody works differently. And especially if you're a knitter as well, you will hold it very differently. Here we go, get to the end now. So this is the last actual stitch, and now I've got to go into this chain, so I'm literally going to go in there. That's fine. Right, so now that is 2 rows of double and 2 rows of half treble. So keep practicing this next stitch for as many rows as you like. I'd suggest doing at least 20 rows, just so that you get a good feel of it. As you can see, there's slightly more texture to this one, where it sticks out a little bit more. It's a little bit thicker than the rows below, because these sit quite flat, the double crochet, whereas the half trebles are a little bit thicker, but still really nice and look lovely and neat. Right, now on to the treble crochet, or a double crochet in US terms. So this is why it matters, because the stitches are very different. So a double crochet in UK terms is this one. In US terms, it's the next stitch we're doing. So the size difference is quite dramatic. So that's why a project will be wrong if you work in the wrong stitch. So for this one, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Again, not work into the first one because the chain is our first stitch. We're going to yarn over like we did with the stitch before. Go into the stitch, yarn over, pull through the stitch. We've got the 3 loops on the hook, exactly the same as the stitch before, but there's an extra step here. So we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now this stitch is a lot bigger. This works a lot quicker. So when you're working a project in treble crochet or double crochet US terms, it works up a lot quicker. So yarn over into the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over into the next stitch. Again, always go working under the V's at the top. Yarn over, pull through, so you've got 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Once you get going, this stitch is lovely and rhythmic, and generally tends to be most of my learners' favourite stitch for that reason. Let me just put a bit more yarn, and then let's work all the way along. Here we go. Yarn over into the stitch, yarn over, pull through. 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. All the way along. Like that. There we go. We're getting towards the end now. Keep going. Yarn over into the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So you complete the stitch. There we go. And then we're going to go into the end here. This is the last stitch. And then we've got the chain to work into. Because obviously if I didn't work that chain, as you can see here, it would start going in and it will start curving in. If it starts curving in, it means you're losing stitches. If it starts curving out, it means you're adding stitches. So I need to work now into the chain. So here we go, into there. And that is that row complete. And as you can see, this stitch is about the same height as the 2 rows from below, which is why everything works up a lot quicker. So if we turn, we're going to chain 3 again, because one bigger stitch, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to yarn over into the second stitch under both sides of the V, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, split my yarn there, and then keep going all the way along, and that will be row 2. And now you can keep practicing these, because these are the basic stitches, the ones that you will use most often, and anything else that we do more complicated is quite often a variation of one of these 3 stitches. So just having these basics will really help you for projects further on. There are a few more stitches I can show you, but they will be on a different video. So practice these, practice. I cannot stress enough just how much it helps if you've practiced and you kind of get into the rhythm. You're holding your hook comfortably, you're holding the yarn how it feels comfortable, and you kind of get into a flow, and then it feels so nice. So all the way along, yarn over into the stitch, yarn over, pull through the stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And now we'll get into the end of this row. And now we're back to this chain. So the last stitch has to go into this chain. So anywhere into the chain is fine. And there we go. And that is 2 rows of treble crochet. As you can see, those 2 rows are basically the same as all 4 of these rows at the bottom. So keep practicing. Literally, you can make up squares of each one of these stitches. So chain 20, do about 30 rows of each, and get to grips with these. And then join me for the next video, which will be the next steps along. If you've got any questions, you can pop them in the comments section below, and I will try and answer as many as I can. But yeah, tell us what you think, and I will see you in the next video.